The rain had teeth that night. It tore at the windows, hissed against the roof. When the knock came, it wasn't polite. It was frantic. I opened the door and found my grandson, 8 years old, soaked through, chest heaving. His face was white beneath the street lamp. Mom coughed up a lot of blood and collapsed. His voice broke, the words tumbling out. My hand closed around his small shoulder. "Where's Dad? He hit Mom and left." The boy's eyes flickered. Fear, shame, and something darker, something learned too young. I didn't waste time. We drove through the storm, wipers slashing at the night. My pulse was steady, but my grip on the wheel was iron. When we reached their house, the front door hung open. She was on the floor, crimson staining her blouse, one hand trembling weakly in the air before it fell. The rain roared outside. Inside, I heard only my breathing. At the hospital, they took her from me. Machines hummed. Voices muttered medical terms I didn't bother decoding. I stayed in the hallway, the boy wrapped in a blanket beside me. I had known there were problems. The way she had stopped smiling when her husband entered the room. The phone calls she took in the kitchen, voice low. But I had believed it was stress, marital strain. Now I understood it was rot. When he arrived, he played his part well. Shock, worry, the wide-eyed performance of a man blindsided by tragedy. But his eyes didn't search for her, they searched for me. He didn't ask what had happened, he already knew. The police came. She said she'd fallen. The boy said nothing. I said even less. I didn't sleep that night. While she lay under fluorescent light, I started building my case. The bank records came first, movements of money that made no sense for their income. Large transfers to an account in his brother's name. Then the insurance policy, quietly increased last year, naming him sole beneficiary. I spoke to her friend Clara, who'd stopped visiting months ago. Clara told me about the bruises, the excuses, the way my daughter's laugh had gone missing. I kept my expression still. Every detail was a brick in the wall I was building. I called a lawyer I trusted, asked him about emergency asset freezes, about custody transfers. He asked why. I told him I would explain later. At the hospital, I sat by her bed and held her hand. I told her she'd be safe. I didn't tell her how. When he visited, I watched him touch her hair, watched her flinch, and I imagined the exact moment I'd remove him from her life. Not loudly, not with fury, but with precision. 2 days later, Clara called again. She'd seen him at a motel. Not with another woman, but with a man I recognized from a photo in my daughter's wedding album. The best man, his oldest friend. And suddenly the shape of it became clear. The violence, the insurance, the money moved out of reach. She wasn't just disposable to him, she was in the way. I got the proof I needed, photographs, timestamps, the motel ledger. That evening I found him in the hospital cafeteria, stirring coffee he wasn't drinking. I placed the envelope on the table and slid it toward him. He opened it. His jaw tightened, his breath caught. I didn't say a word. When I turned to leave, I heard the paper crumple in his fist. I waited until he was home to make my move. Through my lawyer, the emergency orders were filed. His access to her accounts, cut. The house, frozen as a marital asset pending investigation. Custody of the boy, provisionally transferred to me until she recovered. By the time he checked his accounts, they were empty to him. By the time he called his lawyer, mine had already filed the restraining order. I sent him one message: "You don't own her anymore." That night, I drove past the house. His car sat in the driveway, lights off. I imagined him inside, pacing, trying to think his way out of a box whose walls were already sealed. He had built his life on control, and I had taken it, piece by piece, without ever raising my voice. She came home a week later. Not to him, to me. The boy sleeps in the room at the end of the hall now. His laughter is cautious, but it's coming back. She doesn't know the full extent of what I did. That's fine. The truth isn't for her. It's for me. Because I've seen his face when he realized the game was over. I've seen the moment the predator understood he'd been cornered long before he noticed the cage. There's no joy in it, no triumph, only a quiet, cold certainty. Power isn't about striking hardest. It's about leaving them standing in the ruin of their own making, with nowhere left to go but down.